Sad news this noon from the entertainment world. Country music legend.
Before Loretta Lynn ever stepped into a spotlight, she was learning how to survive in the dark. Born in the rural hollows of Van Lear, Kentucky, she was the second of 8 kids squeezed into a tiny one-room cabin with no plumbing, no electricity, and no promises. Her family didn't just face poverty, was their default setting. They lived under the rule of a coal company that owned everything. The house, the store, even the money. She didn't sleep in beds. She curled up on the cold floor next to her siblings, wrapped in whatever blankets were around, just trying to stay warm through bitter winters. When she developed a serious ear infection, doctors drilled into her head to save her hearing, a brutal, archaic procedure that marked her early years with pain. Her mother, without a dollar to spare, walked 10 miles every day to see her in the hospital. But in that silence and struggle, something unexpected began to grow. A voice. Not a metaphorical one, her actual voice. She sang lullabies on the creaky porch to calm her siblings. Her voice would echo across the hills, strong enough to make men in the fields stop and listen. With no instruments, no formal lessons, and no plans for Nashville, music wasn't a dream, it was an escape route. And slowly, that voice became a force. Loretta Lynn didn't ease into adulthood, she was shoved into it. At just 15 years old, though she often said 13. She married Oliver Doolittle Lynn, a man who had become both the spark for her career and the source of deep emotional wounds. Her parents hated the idea, her mother refused to attend the wedding, and her father never warmed up to Doolittle. Those early warning signs. They weren't wrong. He drank, he cheated, he disappeared for days, and through it all, Loretta stayed. But not in silence. She hit back literally and metaphorically. If he hit me, I'm gonna hit him back, she once said without flinching. She turned that raw defiance into songs, into survival, into power. But back then, she was just a teenage girl juggling baby's heartbreak and the daily grind of trying to hold a broken home together. It wasn't romantic. Ironically, it was Doolittle who pushed her into music. He bought her a cheap $17 guitar, booked her early gigs, and drove her from one radio station to the next. Whether it was guilt, pride, or control, he saw her talent. Before she did, but make no mistake, this wasn't a Cinderella story. Loretta didn't wait to be rescued. She turned a toxic situation into a career. Her pain became her lyrics by the age of 22. Loretta Lynn had 4 kids, no money, and a husband who was more often drunk than dependable. While other women her age were just starting their lives, Loretta was washing diapers by hand and surviving off dandelions to feed her children. Doolittle's drinking binges left her alone to shoulder the weight of motherhood, housework, and survival. This wasn't just hardship, it was isolation. Her pregnancies came quickly and painfully, with barely any medical support. After 2 miscarriages and a life-threatening blood infection, Loretta still had to recover at home, unattended. She gave birth to her 3rd child alone, while sedated in a hospital room. Because Doolittle was out logging and unreachable, her health was always on the edge, but she had no choice but to keep going. And when her music career began to rise, so did the stakes. Loretta's songs weren't fantasies, they were therapy. Her heartbreak, her rage, her exhaustion, they all poured into lyrics that millions of women related to. Songs like The Pill weren't just controversial, they were revolutionary. She gave voice to the women who were tired of being told to stay quiet, tired of being told to accept their suffering. Even when radio stations banned her music, women listened. Loretta Lynn didn't write songs to be sweet, she wrote them to survive. Her lyrics weren't dress-up metaphors or polite ballads. They were battle cries. Don't Come Home with Lovin' on Your Mind wasn't just catchy, it was a window into her own marriage. She wasn't asking for sympathy. She was stating facts. The song exploded in 1967, becoming the first one country hit by a solo female artist, and then came Fist City. This wasn't just a warning, it was a threat. The song was aimed at a real woman who had dared to flirt with Doolittle while Loretta performed. Radio stations hesitated to play it. A woman openly threatening another woman on record. That was unheard of. But fans didn't hesitate. They loved it. Songs like The Pill and Rated X kicked down even more doors. She sang about birth control, divorce, and female autonomy, topics country radio had never dared touch. Loretta's catalog wasn't just music. It was rebellion with a melody. She didn't ask for permission, and she didn't water things down. Her music mirrored the lives of millions of women told to stay quiet. Instead, she told them, speak up, stand tall, and don't apologize. Loretta Lynn's life had already seen enough pain to fill 100 songs. But the tragedy of 1984 nearly broke her. Her son, Jack Benny Lynn, died at just 34 in a horrifying accident on the family's ranch. He was thrown from his horse while crossing the dangerous Duck River and drowned. Loretta, already hospitalized for exhaustion, collapsed when she heard the news. Loretta never fully recovered from Jack's death. She didn't write a song directly about him, but the weight of that loss bled into her later music. Her voice grew softer, heavier, tinged with sorrow. She spoke of him often in interviews, haunted not just by grief but by guilt. She had not been there when he died, and that absence carved a silence she could never fill. Then, something strange happened in 2016. While recording her final Grammy-nominated album Full Circle at Johnny Cash's Cabin Studio, Loretta saw something or someone. As she sang one of Johnny's songs, she paused, startled, and said she saw a man in a gray suit walk through the door. She swore it looked just like Johnny Cash. Loretta didn't call it imagination, she called it real. The moment wasn't scary, it was a goodbye. A whisper from one legend to another. It was fitting. Loretta Lynn didn't just sing songs. She rewrote the rules of what women could say, feel, and demand through music. Her life was a mosaic of poverty, heartbreak, defiance, and supernatural mystery, and she turned every piece into art. From fighting off abuse in her own home to standing up to radio stations that tried to silence her, she never backed down. She didn't just survive the industry, she transformed it. Even after her death in 2022, Loretta's presence remains impossible to ignore. When the Grand Ole Opry celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2025, her spirit filled the room through tribute performances, emotional retellings, and songs that still hit hard decades later. Her legacy isn't wrapped in nostalgia, it's alive, raw, and still resonating. She gave working-class women a voice. Because in the end, Loretta Lynn wasn't just a country star. She was a storyteller, a fighter, a force. And when she finally went quiet, the silence felt like the last note of a song too powerful to ever truly fade away.